what not to fix when selling your home in Richmond, Virginia. Hey, what's up, Richmond, and welcome to The Real RVA. My name's Clayton Getz. So today we're going to talk about what not to fix when selling your home in Richmond, Virginia. So this is actually something that I've thought a lot about because I have made these mistakes. I have lost money on making repairs and upgrades and fixes that my wife and I should not have done. So I don't want you to make that same mistake. And number one at the top of the list is do not do a full kitchen or bathroom renovation before you are going to sell your house in Richmond, Virginia. So if you're, these renovations, big kitchen renovations, bathroom renovations are really more for if you are going to live in the house 5, 10, 15 years and you just want to enjoy, just a really nice, kitchen or bathroom renovation. We just finished updating ours and it's expensive. Anybody that, any of you that are watching that have ever done a kitchen or a bathroom renovation, I mean, a full renovation can be anywhere from, $40, $50, $100,000 plus. So you're not going to typically get that money back if you are upgrading or updating your kitchen, certainly not a full renovation prior to putting your house on the market. So, so that's number one, like don't do a full kitchen or a full bathroom renovation right before putting your house on the market. Now, things that you do want to think about that could make a big difference. And again, this is somewhat price point dependent and it is very, market dependent. So in Richmond, Virginia right now, we're looking at average anywhere from 25 to 35, depending on the source that you look at, 25 to 35 days on market. So we're still in a seller's market, but we're teetering, and it could be time of year, but we're teetering on, a buyer's market is 5-6 months, right? But we were, a year ago, we were looking at a week, 4, 5, 6 days on market. So things have definitely taken a little bit longer to sell. So things you want to look at when you're, thinking about a kitchen or a bathroom would be painting. Right. So if the cabinets are scuffed, if you can paint them, go on ahead and paint them. If there's cracked tile, grouting, anything that just the eye could pick up on when a buyer is walking through your property, that's something you want to do. But just you're not replacing cabinets. We're not replacing countertops with new granite. If it's as long as it's not defective and it looks fine, you're in great shape. Don't do that prior to putting your house on the market. That's number one. Number two is there is no need to replace working appliances just because they are not stainless steel. Case in point. So we recently bought a little investment property that we didn't like. That there were white appliances. We don't love white appliances. We're just kind of into the stainless steel or the cabinet front, whatever. That's our taste. But these appliances they're fine. They worked fine. We're not replacing them. They're still in the property, and there's just no need. The point is, I don't want you to make this mistake. If they are not just all beat up and if they don't look janky and they work, then there's no need to replace your appliances. And in some cases, our sellers are taking, certainly washers and dryers and sometimes refrigerators with them as well, but you don't need to replace them. That's number two. Number three, please do not swap out your floors. This is a mistake that my wife and I made. We went, a house that we sold several years ago, we went through and the carpet needed to be replaced, but we replaced the carpet with hardwood. And the mistake that we made is we did it because we anticipating selling the house. And we wanted to and look, I'm in the business. I've been doing this for 21 years. Well, I will tell you that my personal calculations were off, and we did not get that money back from replacing and it was white carpet, replacing all that white carpet with hardwood floors. Now the house sold really quickly, but we just didn't get a return on that investment. So, looking back, what we would have done is we would have replaced the carpet with carpet, because the carpet needed to be replaced. Now, if your carpet, sometimes your carpet can do, there are some amazing products now that can clean carpets and make them look a whole lot better. So absolutely have the carpets professionally cleaned if you can get away with that. But if they're nasty and pet stained and stinky, then replace the carpets, right? But you don't need to replace the carpets with hardwoods or something that's really expensive. Go ahead and replace them with the same product, but it's just brand new. Now, something to point out here as well, you always want to stay with neutral colors, okay? So we're going to get on, this is another point here in just a minute, but if you're replacing carpets, stay neutral. You don't want any crazy colors, anything that, any other buyer is going to walk in and say, oh, why would you replace your carpets with like purple shag? Because nobody wants that, right? So you're going to replace carpets with neutral colors. So don't swap out the floors just because. All right. So number 4, there's no need to fix every little teeny tiny cosmetic imperfection, like a one scuffed baseboard. Like I have literally, and I love these clients, by the way, like I adore these people. Like I walked into a house for a listing appointment and the seller was literally on the floor painting the baseboards, the scuffs on the baseboards, true story, with a little paintbrush. The reason I love those those clients is because I know that this house is we should probably buy those houses because I know that top to bottom, that house, everything has been taken care of, everything has been maintained. They're just, some people are just anal like that. But you don't need to fix every single little teeny tiny scuff, every little nail pop. You don't need to go overboard with every tiny cosmetic imperfection, especially in a market like we're experiencing in Richmond, Virginia today, when the average days on market is between 25 and 35 days. In some pockets, they're lower than that. In a different market, back in 2008, for example, 2009, 2010 through 2012, when homes were just sitting and not selling, we were a little more aggressive about pre-inspections and about just making sure that, because there was so much more inventory, we wanted to make sure that all of our product, our houses, stood out from the very crowded market, right? But it's just not like that right now. In many cases, and obviously you want to talk to your real estate agent, but in many cases, the inventory is still low in most areas. However, if there are certain pockets where the inventory is higher, and maybe you do want to get a little more anal, but in most cases in Central Virginia, don't worry about going overboard with tiny cosmetic items, a little crack in the caulk here, a door that sticks sometimes there. Not a big deal. If it's a safety issue, yes, but otherwise don't worry about it. Number 5, don't over landscape. You do not need to add a botanical garden to your property prior to putting it on the market. Again, if you're going to live there for the next 5, 10, 15 years, and you want to make it more of your own, then invest the money, but invest the money. That's what I always tell my clients, and what I tell myself now as well is, I don't necessarily look at my house as this big investment vehicle. Do I want to get a return? Yes, but we are making upgrades to the house. I'm sitting in our podcast studio today inside of our home. We are making upgrades today that are in alignment with our lifestyle. Like we don't plan on going anywhere for a long time. So the upgrades and the improvements that we're making we're not thinking about selling. If we were, then we probably wouldn't make some of the upgrades that we're making. I hope that makes sense. So in terms of landscaping, you don't need to overdo it. Like mowing, edging, trimming, fresh mulch, seasonal color by the front door is always nice. A clean entryway. These simple things. Staging the property from the outside is a great idea, but major, hardscape, things like that, you're just not going to get that money back. Number 6, don't finish that basement just because, you think it would be cool. So, Richmond has a lot of basements, right? So there's just no need to do any major renovations that are going to cost, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 when it just might not be necessary. Again, especially in a market with lower inventory. You also have to worry about permits and the time on market, cost overruns, and buyers that just may not value a finished basement as much as you do. We've used basements. We've had a number of homes with basements over the past 51 years that we've lived in Richmond. And we use those for storage and other things. So you don't do that again if you're thinking about selling here soon. Number 7, please do not upgrade to your taste right before selling your home in Richmond, Virginia. What I mean by that, and listen, all due respect to those of you that love colors and it's your home. Like of course you should personalize it, but not if you're thinking about selling it. The conversations that we're having with our seller clients are depersonalizing it more than we are obviously personalizing it. So bold accent walls. Now, there are some cases where accent walls are back in right now. My wife is telling me, we're putting one in the gym, for example. But so there are some cases where you're going to see that. Really trendy tile, statement lighting. There are certain things that are not necessary before you're putting the house on the market. Definitely over personalizing is not what you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bonus section here of things that you should do if you're thinking about selling your Richmond, Virginia home in 2026. So the best move that you can do, number one, is clean and declutter like a madman or a madwoman. Like clean and declutter. When I walk into a house, again, like thinking about, my client that was painting the baseboards, her house was picture perfect. And now, of course, look, we stage, we bring in a professional staging person for a consultation on every single house that we list here in RVA. And our staging professional is going to give our seller client a checklist. Okay, this is what you need to do to set the stage to maximize your return on your investment. One of the biggest ROIs that you can do is clean and declutter your Richmond, Virginia home before putting it on the market. That's number one. Number two, all safety, health, obvious functional issues. One of the things that kills deals more than anything else are crawl spaces. So I've always had, because I learned this in real estate, I always have my crawl spaces inspected prior to putting them on the market. Mold, mildew, heck, we've had a joist that was cracked that we knew nothing about. Those they can blow up deals, right, very quickly. Mold is the big one. So health, safety issues, cracks in foundations, especially if you live down in the Brandermill, Midlothian area, or even some of the older homes in Richmond, Virginia. You just want to have those crawl spaces and those basements inspected with somebody that knows what they're doing prior to putting your house on the market. That's number two. Now, those are my top 7. I'm going to leave some optional, quick lists. I'll put them in the description of what to do and what not to do when you're thinking about selling your home in Richmond, Virginia in 2026. But those are my top 7. I hope this list was helpful. If you would like one of our agents to come out and take a peek at your property and help you prepare your home for sale in 2026 and tell you what to do and what not to do, just give us a call. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.